So let's create the very first collection. By default, I'm not going to select any authorization type. It will be a very simple request. I'm just going to click on the create button, and you can see a new collection is created. There are a lot of options. If I click on this, it will ask, give me an option to run this collection or share this collection. Then there are a number of other options which we will be practically using in our upcoming lectures. We can rename it, we can share it, we can edit it, we can add some requests, we can duplicate and create a new connection collection with the same data, right? So a lot of things are there, right, which are very straightforward. You can mark this as a favorite collection as well, right? Inside this collection, if I expand this, you can see this is an empty collection. We need to add request to this collection, right? Or we can add subfolders as well. We can add a folder over here, and we can say that this is get request. We can add another folder, and this way we can manage our request. This is the post request, right? So any way you want to manage your API request, you can manage it in the subfolders as well, right? So as of now we are going to use a very simple API, right? So to get yourself familiar with the API testing part, so I'm gonna go to this request response.in website. This is a very simple API, although we'll be looking at very complex APIs as well, right? But we are just getting started, right? So if you are already familiar with the API testing part little bit, so just be with me because we are going to cover very complex examples as well. But yes, for the people who are starting their career in API testing, who are very beginner to API testing, I'm making sure that I am going to cover everything from ABC of API, right? So just be with me. We're gonna see a very good examples as well, right? So this is like you can see the request type is get. There are other requests as well. Post is there, put is there, patch is there, delete is there, right? So if I talk about this request, you can see this is a request. Basically your endpoint of the URI. The URI is this. Basically, if I copy this and if I paste it over here, so the complete request URI is something like this, right? So if I copy this and if I paste it over here, so you're gonna see you're gonna get a response over here in a form of JSON. If you see over here, this is the response. There's a response code where it mentions that the response is successful. There are different response code based on different requests. See 200, 201, 200, then delete is 204, right? We're gonna have discussion around the response codes as well. And when you are requesting a particular page over here, this is the data that is displayed on the second page, right? By default, if you don't give the page number over here, if you give this much in the request, it shows the data for the very first page. Now if you want to make it make this the thing that we're getting over here is basically a response. Now there is a website, a very good website, JSON editor online, right? If you go to this particular website and you paste this response over here in this format and then click on this, so this will be aligned something like this, right? So this is page number 1. In total there are 12 pages and 3 records are shown per page. So this is the first 3 data, which is in an organized manner that you can see over here. So we'll be taking a help of this JSON editor online a lot, right? And this is the URI that we just hit. We have just hit this URI over here in the browser. Now we'll see how to send the very first request in Postman. So what I'm gonna do, let's say I'm gonna get the single user information. So the single user information that we're gonna see from here. This is the endpoint that we need to send, right? So what we need to do, we'll copy this base URI and we'll go to Postman. This is basically a GET request, right? So we're gonna add a request over here and we'll pass on the URI, the base URI, and then we're gonna copy this endpoint along with the resource, and then we're gonna click on saving a request. It will ask you to save it in which collection, so I'm gonna select the GET request and I'll save it to here. You can see this is the GET request, and when I am actually when I click on the send button, it will gonna give us the response for which user, for the second user. So if you look over here, we actually got the same response. If you change this endpoint to third user, from the user's resource, if I click on this, it will gonna show us the data for the third user. And if I don't give any name over here, let's say there's a list of user, and for a particular page, let's say I want the results from a particular page. If I copy this and paste this over here, so this is going to return us the data from the second page, right? If I click send, you're gonna see we got the second page data information, so all the three users data along with the status code OK, 200 OK, right? So over here you're gonna see the response code over here is 200. So this is how we just sent a very first request, the API request, using the GET method. All right.